I'm so glad you mentioned that the way the pedagogy in Europe is different than in the States, because that's the kind of debate students here in China face when they graduate from college, when they want to pursue further study, either in the States or in Europe. Sometimes they have to struggle, they have to debate with themselves whether I want to go to the States side, whether I want to go to the Europe for further study. So for you being someone sitting comfortably in the States, also in Europe, what's your advice to those students? Which is like preferable way or whatever?
I don't think there's a right way or wrong way, obviously. It's music, so you have to go with what you want. And also it depends on your age and at what stage you're in. For example, when I first left home from Hawaii, how I decided to go where was who did I want to study with. So I didn't really care if it was anywhere in the world. I wanted to be with a specific teacher. So I went, for example, to Georgia to study with Julie Albers, and I moved to Evanston to go study with Hans-Jürgen Jensen. And it wasn't really that I was choosing, Belgium, because actually before I moved to Belgium, I had planned to move to Germany because I wanted to study with some teachers in Germany. And I even studied German for 4 years, and then I ended up in Belgium because I realized, I really want to study with Gary Hoffman. And so I think it's important at what stage you're in. And in my case, I was still studying. So I wanted to study with very specific people. And whether that person may be in Europe or in the US, it didn't really matter. Because I knew that I would get a lot of benefit from the relationship with said teacher. And I think more than deciding on a location because of its benefits, it's really important to decide from who you think you will be best with and who you can be best for yourself with the teacher.
You studied in Belgium at the Queen Elizabeth's Chapel. We just talked something about the chapel yesterday, and could you elaborate on what the chapel is? Is it a place for worship?
So it's not a place for worship, and it's also not conservatory. It's not a school or somewhere you go and get a diploma or anything. It's an institution that was originally founded actually for the Queen Elizabeth competition. And they wanted to motivate more Belgian students or musicians, young students to participate and to be able in the competition and to be able to train in an environment where it's completely calm with amazing teachers and who they call masters. And that system remains until now, but now it's open internationally, and it's not only for training for the competition. So the name stays as the Queen Elizabeth Music Chapelle, but it's in Waterloo, Belgium, kind of in the middle of the forest, and it's not a huge building or anything, but there are studios and people can live there or you can travel there, and depending on which studio, so for me obviously it was the cello studio, we had Gary Hoffman and Jürgen Ruding coming in every couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, and we would have 2 days of lessons, and the rest of the time, because I lived there, I was just practicing, I was rehearsing, and I had opportunity to play many concerts that were organized by the Chapelle, and also opportunities to play with the different masters of the professors of the institution. And there's not much, there are no classes, there are no diplomas, no credits, nothing like that, but it's just a place where we can study and practice and learn and play in peace.
Sounds like heaven for music making.
Yeah, it's a small utopian bubble.
Yeah. But they're dystopian also for cellists traveling with their cello on board a plane. I often read news that the cellist was disembarked from an airplane because he somebody, probably always this air stewardess who refused for the cellist to bring the cello as a carry on with him or her. Have you encountered such nightmare for
absolutely many different types of nightmares I've encountered. Oddly, in China, I've had the best experience with traveling with cello, because normally, for example, in the United States and in Europe, you have to buy an extra seat for your instrument. So you buy 2 economy seats, and that's that. It's very expensive, but what else can we do? But in China, it's actually, you can just buy either a business or first class, just 1 ticket, and they have space for the cello to put in the coat hanging closet or in the overhead bin, because there's just more space for the higher classes of the flying cabin. So I find that actually much nicer, because it's cheaper and you get to fly not economy.
And then you should worry about this.
Yeah, exactly.
Debate with the air stewardess.
Yeah, no debates. And it's funny also in Canada, they really strap down the cello, so you have to go in the plane first, and the workers come with these huge straps and they just strap down the cello with this net so that the cello doesn't move, and you're like, where do you expect it to go? But I think each country, each region has their own different rules about these, so always have to be careful. Each time you book any ticket, have to check and call them and spend hours on the phone booking and unbooking and booking, rebooking. Yeah.